right to health and achieving health targets in Africa. Let's cross now to our reporter Nthakoana Ngatane, who's in Midrand. Nthakoana, is Kgalema Motlanthe there yet?
Well, not yet, Francis. This session is expected to start around 2:30, but I think what we can say is that he is part of a group of eminent persons called Champions for an AIDS-Free Generation. He's one of 5 former presidents, and they include former President of Botswana, Festus Mogae, Joaquim Chissano of Mozambique, Kenneth Kaunda, and Hifikepunye Pohamba of Namibia. These are the former presidents, but they're eminent persons like Bishop Desmond Tutu, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and these are just some of the 13 eminent people who form these champions that fight for an AIDS-free generation. But the conversation here today is expected to be around what leaders can do, those who are in power, for the right to health as well as meeting health targets. So this is what we expect to happen here this afternoon.
Give us a rundown. You've been there all week, and this is an important sitting of the Pan-African Parliament. Several new South African MPs inducted. Tell us what's been on the agenda besides health.
Well, besides health, I think one of the most prominent things that happened was yesterday, and we were expecting it to. That is EFF leader Julius Malema. He is one of 4 new MPs that have been sworn in from South Africa, and they form part of 80 new MPs who have joined this parliament. But of course, those 80 join or make up the 255. Now, out of those 255 members of parliament from across the continent, we have different committees that deal with various aspects of what is done here at the Pan-African Parliament. Now, Julius Malema happened to be in the Finance Committee yesterday, which is what we expected. But of course, he has said to us that one of the things that he is yet to do is to sit in the Audit Committee, because there are 2 separate committees. And what he said was quite significant in the sense that former MPs or MPs who have been here before have been complaining about accountability. They've been saying that the administration, that is the bureau that is responsible for the day-to-day running of the Pan-African Parliament, in between sittings and when other business of this parliament is conducted, they were saying that there is no accountability. But also, one of the issues that he touched on, Julius Malema, was the fact that even though this parliament sits in South Africa and is managed from South Africa and even funded by South Africa, it so happens that South Africans are not well employed by this institution. Even those who are get lesser conditions than their international compatriots who are employed at this parliament. So he says these are some of the things that have to be looked at, and if there are unaccountability continues, he will lead a process to interdict the Parliament of South Africa to suspend its funding to this parliament. So this is one of the things that has come out. But of course, the other thing that's ongoing, that's expected to conclude tomorrow, is that election for the leadership of the House. We expect to be elected a president as well as 4 vice presidents. A lot of campaigning happening. The North has already nominated its candidate. The South, we know that Zimbabwe wanted to take that, and Botswana also, but the South has eventually decided that they will take Zimbabwe to lead its campaign and be its candidate for that presidency. But of course, there are many other candidates. We know that Tanzania has been elected or nominated to represent the East for vice president. So these are the elections that come to a conclusion tomorrow at 9:30. All of those nominations have to be submitted, and then the election will be concluded by the end of the day tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. Nthakoana, live from the Pan-African Parliament in Midrand, north of Johannesburg. And we will dip in live a little later when former President Kgalema Motlanthe is expected to speak to those Pan-African parliamentarians. That's at about 2:30 South African time.